It began with a single satellite image, a frozen wasteland beneath a swirling white storm. But within that ice, something impossible shimmered. A perfect geometric structure buried deep under the Arctic surface, visible for only a few hours before it vanished from Google Earth without a trace. What if this wasn't a natural formation at all? What if someone was trying to hide it? And why did multiple satellite feeds mysteriously go offline the moment users began sharing the coordinates? As millions of curious eyes turned toward the Arctic, a quiet panic erupted in classified circles. The location, somewhere near 82° north, was instantly locked under digital blackout. Those who saw it claimed to witness metallic contours, triangular patterns, and an unnatural glow beneath the ice. Within hours, online forums went silent, search results disappeared, and experts who spoke about it stopped responding. Something was hidden in the Arctic that the world was never meant to see. And tonight, we'll uncover the truth of what lay beneath that ice before it was erased forever. By dawn, the anomaly was gone from every known map. Search engines redirected, archives were wiped, and the original coordinates led to nothing but white noise. Yet, in a forgotten server mirror, Evelyn Ross recovered a cached frame, a single image revealing the structure's outline beneath the ice. The shape wasn't random. It was engineered. 3 perfect triangles fused into one, almost resembling an ancient symbol. Her instinct screamed that this was not military, not geological, but something far old. As she enlarged the image, faint, runic patterns appeared along the edges, markings that matched no known human language. Hours later, Lars discovered something more unsettling. The satellite metadata showed the image time-stamped a full 2 minutes into the future. Impossible by any known system. It was as if the camera had captured a moment that hadn't yet happened. Evelyn's voice trembled as she read the digital code hidden in the frame. They both knew this tag. It was the signature used in classified defense experiments from the 1980s, long rumored to involve temporal distortion. Moments later, the generator failed. The room plunged into silence, broken only by the low wind outside. Evelyn pulled on her gloves, staring out into the blizzard where the structure had once glowed. For a moment, she thought she saw something. Faint lights moving beneath the snow like a slow pulse. She stepped forward, unable to look away, drawn by a sound deep below. A sound that seemed to whisper her name. Far away, in a secure government monitoring center, Agent Carter Vale reviewed the disappearing data stream with grim focus. The signal that vanished from Google Earth wasn't just deleted. It was overridden by something from an unregistered satellite. Dr. Miriam Lee adjusted her glasses, whispering that the signal frequency matched one used in deep space communications. A hidden base in the Arctic connecting to something beyond Earth. The room fell silent as they realized this was no glitch. It was contact. By morning, the world had forgotten. News outlets that once ran with headlines about a mystery structure in the Arctic now showed nothing but generic weather updates. Every archived post, every saved image, every user-uploaded screenshot. Gone. Evelyn stared at her blank monitor in disbelief. Someone had systematically erased every trace of what they saw. Lars tried to contact colleagues in Sweden, but their messages bounced back with invalid recipient. When Evelyn opened her encrypted satellite data, she found a new file she hadn't saved. Its name: Do Not Return. The file contained only one image, a blurred symbol resembling the same triangle, now crossed out with a single red line. That same hour, thousands of miles away, Agent Carter Vale received a call on an encrypted line. Containment complete, the voice said. But 2 researchers still have local copies. Val's jaw tightened. He ordered immediate lockdown of the Arctic Research Station. Unmarked helicopters departed from an unknown base, their rotors slicing through the polar sky. Doctor. Miriam Lee watched from her console as a blinking red dot marked the researcher's last known coordinates. Her voice trembled as she asked, "Carter? If it's not ours, then whose is it?" He stared silently at the map, unable or unwilling to answer. Evelyn and Lars heard them before they saw them. The sound came like distant thunder, helicopter blades slicing the storm. The two scientists scrambled to pack hard drives and physical notes, their breath forming clouds of panic. Evelyn stuffed the mysterious triangle image into a waterproof case and zipped her parka. "We can't stay," Lars urged. "They'll erase us next." But Evelyn hesitated at the door. She glanced back at her workstation and whispered, "If this isn't human, then maybe it's calling us." Outside, the storm roared as black shapes descended from the sky. The snow erupted around them as the first black helicopter landed. Armed figures in white suits fanned out, their movements precise and wordless. Evelyn and Lars ran through knee-deep drifts toward the ridge, hearts pounding. From behind the storm's veil came a blinding light, something massive stirring beneath the ice again. One of the soldiers froze, lowering his weapon as the ground trembled beneath his boots. The base was awake. Evelyn looked back just in time to see the ice crack open again, releasing a deep, resonant hum that drowned out the wind. Back in the command center, Agent Vale and Dr. Lee watched the satellite feed as the Arctic storm erupted in blinding interference. The signal pulsed again. Same frequency, same shape. A new message scrolled across their screens, automatic and encrypted. "Activation sequence complete." Val's hand trembled. He turned to Lee and said softly, "We didn't shut it down. We turned it on. Then every screen in the room went black. For the first time in recorded history, every global satellite above the Arctic simultaneously lost visual feed. The Arctic storm raged like a living thing. Evelyn and Lars trudged through waist-deep snow, their flashlights cutting through the whiteout in narrow beams. Behind them, rotor blades thundered closer, their pursuers closing in. Every step sent shivers of fear and frost through their bodies. Evelyn clutched the waterproof case to her chest, the only surviving copy of the images. "We can't let them have it," she said through the wind. But Lars had already noticed something else. Their compasses were spinning wildly, and the GPS refused to lock onto any location. "It's not just jamming," he shouted. "The field around us is changing." Beneath their feet, the ground pulsed once, slow and deep like a heartbeat frozen in time. They reached the edge of a ridge, and below it, a faint orange glow flickered beneath the ice. It wasn't fire. It was something moving, almost breathing. Evelyn knelt, brushing snow away with trembling hands, revealing smooth, glass-like ice beneath. Beneath it, metallic shapes shifted, rearranging in perfect symmetry. Lars leaned closer and realized the pattern formed a triangle pointing directly toward them. Then, from below the ice, something massive began to move upward. The ground trembled. The hum returned, louder, pulsing through their bones. "It's following us," Evelyn whispered. From high above, the helicopters circled like vultures. Through thermal lenses, the pilots saw not two figures, but three heat signatures moving across the tundra. Yet, their instruments confirmed only two life forms. Third, a massive, slowly shifting mass beneath the ice emitted no biological readings, only electromagnetic surges. In the command center, Agent Vale and Dr. Lee watched as their tracking systems failed, one by one. "It's moving," Lee murmured. Vale's face hardened. "Then it's not buried anymore." Evelyn and Lars ran, slipping down an icy slope into a narrow ravine. The sound of the hum followed, deeper now, vibrating through the frozen ground. A sudden light burst from behind, a helicopter's searchlight cutting through the storm. They ducked beneath an ice shelf as soldiers' voices echoed above. Evelyn pressed her back against the frozen wall, breathing hard. Lars whispered, We trapped. But then a crack thundered through the ravine, and the ice beneath them glowed again, this time brighter, forming geometric lines that outlined a doorway. "It's opening," Evelyn breathed. The mountain itself seemed to awaken. In the command room, chaos spread. Every monitoring satellite flickered offline. Dr. Lee stared in disbelief as the Arctic radar map distorted into a triangle of static. "It's transmitting again," she whispered. Agent Vale slammed his fist on the table. "We have to contain this." But as he spoke, the image on their main screen stabilized, revealing Evelyn and Lars standing before a glowing triangular doorway beneath the ice. And just before the feed went dark, a fourth figure appeared beside them. It wasn't human. Its shape bent the light around it, as if reality itself couldn't focus on what it was. The doorway beneath the ice pulsed with blinding blue light, bathing Evelyn and Lars in its glow. The storm outside seemed to pause. Snowflakes suspended mid-air as though time itself had hesitated. Evelyn took one cautious step closer, her breath trembling. The air felt alive, vibrating with an energy that hummed through her bones. Lars whispered, "It's waiting for us." From deep inside the ice, faint sounds echoed, metallic, rhythmic, almost mechanical breathing. Then a voice, soft and distorted, emerged from their radios. Authorized presence detected. The words weren't from any human channel. Evelyn's eyes widened. The base wasn't just a structure. It was aware. Inside the glowing chamber, gravity itself seemed confused. Ice hung in the air, fragments suspended like stars in slow motion. Evelyn and Lars stepped forward, each movement rippling the light. The triangular passage stretched far beyond what their eyes could measure, its angles impossible, bending inward and outward at once. Symbols etched into the metallic surface pulsed in synchronized rhythm with their heartbeats. Lars whispered that it felt like the place was reading them. Evelyn reached out and touched the wall. Instantly, memories flooded her mind. Cities beneath oceans, towers made of light, and a sky filled with 3 suns. Then, a whisper in her thoughts, "Welcome back." In the command center, Dr. Lee's instruments went wild. Energy readings spiked to levels never before recorded. The Arctic anomaly had expanded, covering 10 kilometers of frozen terrain in a perfect equilateral pattern. "It's forming a network," she whispered. Agent Vale stared at the data in disbelief. "It's not opening, it's activating." Then, from the static of their failing feed, a low tone emerged, repeating every 12 seconds. It wasn't random. When decoded through frequency modulation, the tone translated into one phrase: "Return the signal." Back beneath the ice, the triangular corridor began to shift. Its floor rippled like liquid metal, forming steps descending into a radiant pit of light. Evelyn and Lars exchanged a single look. Terror and curiosity intertwined, and began their descent. The walls came alive around them, displaying holographic images, star systems, galaxies, maps of places no human had seen. One image lingered longer than the rest. Earth covered in frozen white, marked with a glowing triangle in the north. Lars whispered, "I've been here before." Evelyn realized the truth that chilled her more than the cold ever could. The base wasn't built beneath the Arctic. The Arctic had formed around it. Above the ice, the world trembled. Seismic sensors across the Arctic recorded a pulse unlike anything before. The storm dissolved into stillness as the clouds spiraled in perfect symmetry around the pole. At the heart of it, where Evelyn and Lars had vanished, a column of pure light shot into the sky, piercing through the atmosphere. In the control room, Vale and Lee watched in silent horror as satellites recalibrated to capture the event. For a brief moment, the signal reached deep space, and something answered. The message was short, encoded in light. "The first key has awakened." Light engulfed everything. Evelyn blinked, her eyes adjusting to a realm unlike anything she had ever imagined. There was no up or down, no horizon. Only a vast ocean of light, suspended like liquid glass. Lars floated beside her, his breath visible though the air felt warm. All around them, fragments of memories shimmered, images of ancient landscapes, pyramids beneath ice, and machines that pulsed like hearts. A voice resonated, not through sound, but thought. Human archives incomplete. Connection restored. Evelyn gasped, realizing they weren't inside a building. They were inside a message. The base wasn't communicating with Earth. It was communicating through them. Far above, Dr. Miriam Lee deciphered the incoming frequencies. They were not random pulses. They formed patterns, like mathematical poetry. "It's data," she whispered. "Coordinates and language." As she ran algorithms through the stream, shapes began forming on her monitors, symbols identical to those discovered beneath the Antarctic ice decades earlier. Agent Vale leaned in, realization dawning across his face. "This isn't a message to us," he said slowly. "It's a reply." Outside the command center, the northern sky began to shimmer again, as though the atmosphere itself was receiving the transmission. Inside the chamber of light, Evelyn and Lars stood before a massive construct that appeared to breathe. Part machine, part living entity. As they approached, its surface shifted, displaying familiar human faces, scientists, explorers, even astronauts, flashing like echoes in time. Evelyn placed her hand on the structure, and in an instant, her mind was filled with visions. Earth viewed from orbit, covered in glowing triangles, each one marking an ancient beacon hidden across the planet. The voice returned, clearer now. Preservation network activated. Awaiting human alignment, Lars looked at her, frightened. Alignment with what? The chamber began to tremble as streams of light shot upward through the ice above. In the control room, panic spread. Every global communications satellite suddenly rerouted toward the Arctic Pole, transmitting without command. Civilian GPS, internet feeds, and radio signals flickered with the same strange symbol. 3 triangles fused into one. "They're using our network," Dr. Lee said, her voice trembling. "They're speaking through every signal on Earth." Vale's eyes narrowed. "Then the message isn't local anymore. Around the world, those watching the northern lights witnessed them shift from green to pure white, stretching farther than ever before. Humanity had just become the antenna." Evelyn stood at the heart of the chamber, surrounded by light that now moved in patterns. Communication beyond human comprehension. The voice grew softer, almost compassionate. "We came before the freeze. The keys remain. One must choose to awaken the next." Lars shook his head in disbelief. "You think they're asking us to continue it?" Evelyn looked at him, realization dawning. The structure wasn't an alien arrival. It was a remnant, a beacon from something that had once lived here. The hum deepened, and the triangle before them began to fracture open, revealing a second, smaller chamber filled with shimmering starlight. The next signal was waiting to be sent. The inner chamber opened like a living heartbeat of light. Evelyn stepped forward, her boots no longer crunching against ice, but gliding over a floor that shimmered like liquid glass. The air was silent, yet it felt as though 1,000 voices whispered just beyond hearing. Lars followed, scanning the glowing symbols that orbited them like fragments of thought. Then the light condensed into a single point above them, forming the image of Earth, not as it was now, but as it had been millions of years ago. Oceans covered the poles, continents unrecognizable. The same triangular network pulsed faintly across the surface. Evelyn's voice quivered. "They were here before us. Before everything." And then came the whisper again, clear and resonant. "We are what remains." In the command center, Dr. Lee's trembling hands moved across the keyboard as lines of code cascaded faster than she could interpret. The signal wasn't just transmitting. It was rewriting itself, learning, adapting. Agent Vale leaned closer to the screens as a voice emerged through the static, faint yet human-like. "Do not fear the awakening." Lee's eyes widened. "It's not a threat," she whispered. "It's guidance." Vale turned slowly toward her. "Guidance from what?" The voice responded as if answering him directly. "From those who began you." The room fell into stunned silence. The data stream stabilized, revealing the same triangular pattern, now glowing across every satellite map of Earth. Evelyn's body tingled as streams of light flowed into the chamber's center. The symbols rearranged, forming a circular platform beneath her feet. The air pulsed like a heartbeat, each rhythm syncing with her pulse. "It's scanning us," Lars said softly. The chamber spoke again, its tone blending harmonics into language. "The second key must be chosen." Evelyn turned to Lars. "It means one of us." Suddenly, the light focused on her, surrounding her like a cocoon. Lars reached out, shouting her name, but the glow intensified, lifting her from the floor. Her eyes filled with tears, not of fear, but of understanding. The voice whispered, "Memory transfer begins." The command center's lights flickered as readings spiked beyond measurable limits. Dr. Lee cried out, "She's connected directly to the signal." Agent Vale clenched his fists, helpless. The Arctic beam on their monitors expanded into a blinding sphere of energy, visible from orbit. Within the chamber, Evelyn's mind filled with visions. Civilizations of light, ancient beings mapping Earth's magnetic core, messages stored in ice waiting for human discovery. She saw their extinction, their last act to preserve knowledge beneath the poles. The final truth burned clear in her mind. Humanity was never alone. They were successors of a forgotten lineage. The chamber quieted. The light faded until only Evelyn's silhouette remained, descending softly to the floor. Lars ran to her, catching her as she collapsed. Her eyes fluttered open, calm and distant. "It's all connected," she whispered. "Every signal, every ancient ruin, every unexplained frequency. They're all part of the same network." She looked up at the glowing walls as they began to dim, one by one. "They didn't leave us a warning," she said faintly. "They left us instructions." Outside, the Arctic sky shimmered one final time, a silent triangle of light pulsing before vanishing into the night. Days later, silence returned to the Arctic. The storm was gone. The sky cleared endless, as if nothing had ever happened. But beneath that calm, the ice still pulsed faintly with buried light. Helicopters arrived to find the research camp empty. No signs of struggle, no footprints leading away. The only object left behind was a single data drive sealed in frost, marked with 3 intersecting triangles. When Dr. Miriam Lee opened it in the command center, a single file appeared. It wasn't a video, not even text, just an audio tone repeating in a precise rhythm, like a heartbeat waiting to sing. As she listened, a faint whisper emerged. "Evelyn Ross. Relay complete." In the data analysis room, the repeating tone played again and again, echoing like a message from a distant time. Lee enhanced the waveform, translating its frequencies into patterns of sound and image. Slowly, symbols began to appear, identical to those beneath the ice, but this time the shapes resolved into something recognizable. A map, not of the Arctic, but of the entire planet, dotted with identical hidden locations across continents and oceans. "It's not just one base," she whispered. "It's all connected." Vale exhaled slowly. "Then what we found isn't the origin." Lee looked at him, voice barely audible. "It's the first signal of a return." Far beneath the Arctic ice, deep within the silent chamber, Evelyn opened her eyes. She was no longer cold. The light around her had softened to a warm, golden hue. Lars was gone. Her reflection appeared on the metallic floor, but it wasn't just hers. Overlapping faces flickered within the reflection, ancient and unfamiliar. merging with her own. She placed her hand over her chest and felt her heartbeat align with the pulsing light around her. "We are one," the voice whispered inside her mind. She wasn't just connected to the network, she was the network now. Above, the ice began to glow again. The world began to notice. Across cities and deserts, strange signals appeared on radar and radio alike. Brief pulses at exact intervals, all matching the Arctic frequency. Scientists in Tokyo, Cairo, and Santiago detected underground anomalies, aligned perfectly with Evelyn's coordinates. The northern lights returned, but they weren't the same. This time, they shimmered in precise patterns, moving like living code. Governments went silent, and the public called it the awakening. But no one knew that deep beneath the Arctic, a quiet voice was speaking across the planet, awakening other beacons long dormant beneath the ice, sand, and sea. Weeks later, Dr. Lee played the Arctic tone one last time. For the first time, it responded. The sound folded back on itself, harmonizing into words. Evelyn's voice, calm and distant. They left their knowledge within us. The signal isn't coming, it's growing. Vale looked at her, realization dawning in his weary eyes. Then she became the key. Outside the control room, the sky shimmered again with a final burst of white light, stretching across the horizon before fading into the stars. In that silence, humanity crossed a threshold. It didn't yet understand. Beneath the Arctic, an ancient network stirred once more, alive, patient, and watching.